Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are on with the Sharks after a pretty convincing win. Wasn't all flowers and puppies, but you guys managed to maintain pretty firm control of the match from start to finish, it felt like. Did you guys feel that way, or were you sweating bullets up there?
Well, I had 100 hit points. I had 100 hit points for about 10 ticks there.
Well, really, at that point, our strategy was for Mary to die. They just weren't killing him, so we just said, okay, if they're going to let him get that close, let's just try and control the match and walk 100 HP Mary in with the flag, and it turned out to work. So, yeah, I mean, I think we would have been fine. We still had everyone else, and Grendel is just such a beast. He would have just shoot through anyone.
So, in the last interview that we did, we talked to Gallowglass, and Huck seemed to think that they had the answer for Grendel. I was concerned that Grendel has proven to be very, very strong and possibly overwhelmingly so for a lot of the teams that are having to face him. Huck thought he had an answer, but it didn't really seem to do a whole lot.
They were trying to double slow him for a long time.
And that's a lot of mana that gets eaten up by, for really not a whole lot of gain, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that strategy is because Slann can just flash, and I can just run around and cleanse until I get it off.
Exactly, it cost you like 25 movement to take off what took them like 300 mana to put on you. The Maledicts, were those effective at all? Because I know they tried to just maledict you down and then leave you be, and it didn't seem like it really had much of an impact on you.
They bone blinded me a few times, but they couldn't really chase me, and by that time Merilith had already removed it, so it didn't really do much. I feel like if he tried maybe scourging, maybe trying the other Maledicts, it would have helped, but he didn't scourge at all, he only bone blinded.
And that gets taken off by cleanse, correct?
Yeah.
Scourge shouldn't.
No, Scourge doesn't. He was talking about the bone blight, though, which is a
curse.
Yeah.
It actually looked like KCS had the advantage throughout the entire match, except when Merilith had the flag with 100 health. And I thought
I don't understand why they didn't kill him.
I think it could have been a mistake for you guys to have capped that, because they could have sort of chased you down while you were in red, just let Mira be stranded there for a second, kill you both, and try to cap off that. But that's not what happened. They just left him alone the entirety of the match.
Yeah. I was trying to die, but I wasn't going to cause foul myself with a flag and...
No.
At least 5.
Because they might actually leave you alone, which is what happened.
Yeah. The original plan was Slann was going to go in, I was going to just try and keep them blind so they couldn't pick up. And then we had, another tick on Grendel, and then Grendel and Sean could come out. And with the three of us, even if Mary was hurt, we were still pretty confident, as hurt as they were. We just had the firepower to take them out.
Okay, so I'm sorry, half noise. This is which player?
I'm Slann.
Slann. Okay, awesome. Then you did a very good job, man. I wasn't sure honestly who was gonna win that like the kind of choke war, the assassin war between you and Ferg, because Ferg has done very well so far this season, I think. But you basically just immediately took control of the situation as far as the chokes go, and seemed to win that fight pretty convincingly throughout the course of the match.
Yeah,
I feel like the assassin strategy
really good.
was a little different though. Like he was focused more on chokes, and Ferg was focused more on flash, too.
But I mean, whether you're flashing or choking, it's all about achieving control. And it definitely seemed like Slann got more of that for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, to KCS's credit in general, I think that they targeted down Ferg so much that he wasn't able to control quite as well as he would have wanted to. And then Slann basically just wrested control from Gallowglass the entire match by keeping Simiad down the entire time. All the way up until that weekend, man, and you got to get some diamond bracelets for that.
And that was something we talked about a little bit at the start, before the match started was Slann would have a little bit of an edge as far as getting that, because we did expect Ferg to kind of be on the back foot because he's got to contend with Grendel beating on him, and that did kind of prove to be the case. You know, it's hard to be out there dominating the situation when you've got a troll bearing down on you everywhere you go.
This was a really frustrating match for me because like half the match I was above power swing range, so I couldn't power swing at all because I don't know if they were just on the run or they just didn't hit me, but it was really annoying.
Yeah, I've had situations like that where, you know, before I retrained, where you're not getting hurt, so you just kind of like, all right, let me just pull off my weapon, you know, pull off my shield. Let me go offensive. I'm not sanctuaried anymore. Let's just leave it off so somebody will freaking hurt me. And you just kind of go at them until you take some damage. I mean, like, I've definitely intentionally left Sanctuary off in ACFL matches specifically to get into power swing range. I mean, it can be awkward. Speaking of power swing, though, you took an early E-Drain. Are you healthy, Merritt?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So I get it back over the course of the match.
That was something that concerned me because, you know, that actually is a possibility for barbarians in long matches like this. If you get E-Drained, you actually can just, like, not be able to power swing because you can't work right anymore. Like, it's a thing that can happen.
Fair thought.
I don't know how they didn't accidentally kill me. Like, I'm looking at the log right now.
Merilith is just going back.
I chewed through an elemental.
How did I live?
I sort of love the idea. I sort of love the idea that Donnie, like, drank a 6-pack before the match and then had 100 health the whole time, and then he was just left alone. He just like runs across like a tortoise and finishes the cap off.
I don't know if it's just me being drunk or if it's, I don't know what's going on right now.
We were all kind of bewildered by that. I mean, really the plan was, like, we needed Mary to die, even if he's down, but we'll get Grendel to grab the flag. I can control Simead reasonably well, and hey, no worries. But I didn't think the match was going to end like that. All of a sudden,
it was over.
Yeah.
It's like that drunken master style, man. You just kind of like stumble over there, and people kind of take swings at you, and then they miss, and they're like, well, I don't know what to do now.
Like, even for against Stan's defensive, I don't know how he didn't hit. I was in offensive, so because I was trying to die, I just didn't. I don't know.
Maybe that's the key. From now on, you should try to die, and you'll be invincible.
Just run out in offensive and try to die all the time.
It's a strong strategy. It's a bold move.
A lot of prep went into the match, and I think you brought up some difficulty for Slann and being down on gear, and I think I take a lot of that on as owner, and I don't know if that's been discussed a lot. I mean, you talk a lot about your team and how ownership goes, but ownership is really not planning in my regards to it, and that may be the case for a lot of the owners. And being new, I have been in ACFL as a player before, but it's definitely different being an owner, and so anytime they need anything, anytime they're looking for anything, that's my obsession, is to make sure that they have that type of stuff, that they can get that gear. And as everybody knows, cost is never a concern. So trying to make sure that they get what they need and when they need it is huge. And trying to make sure that, you know, things that they have enough potions, that they have enough money to get those things that they need. And it's not always about just paying them, because every player gets paid and player gets paid a little bit differently. But that's a priority for KCS 100%.
I mean, like you said, it's not just a matter of money, because I have this issue with myself at times where I need something on a particular character and I have the money for it. I just can't be bothered to actually track down somebody that can get it for me. Like, it's just, just that kind of, like, having to sit down and, like, actually track down a piece of gear or whatever. It can be kind of burdensome in itself, regardless of the money that it costs. To the point where sometimes I'm just like, if it's something for me, for myself, sometimes I'll just be like, yeah, I just don't need it that much to bother actually hunting it down.
Right. And that's always a concern. Everybody, I mean, in the game itself, I try and keep it pure. And being a K leader, you set a good example. I'm not out there shopping in Shell and SC or buying things from Althenia to make sure it happens. But across the alignments and across all the issues, it's still very important to make sure the team is stocked and ready to go. And being an involved owner means a lot. And I think that that's kind of a big difference from that you and I share with some people that just aren't as committed.
Yeah, I'll just add a footnote on that. If you look at Slann, you'll notice the gear that I received from Marcaus is cloth dragon skin. Because apparently I'm a Bacali wizard.
So now I'm buying all new dragon skins. God.
Yeah, Bacali racial is also that you can choke everything. That's the new racial on Bacali. So make a forum complaint today.
But
too great.
See, I got you a nice studded leather dragon skin. So what's up? What's up?
That was a good hat. I appreciated that hat on loan.
Apparently, I should just buy them from Grush since he's got them for sale.
I don't have them for sale. I hoard them. I just find stuff and then I hoard it, and then maybe someday I'll find a use for it.
Can we take a minute to talk about the standings, actually?
Sure.
Because this was a pretty important match for us. Because I feel like if we lost, we would have been 2 down the Gallowglass, and that might have been insurmountable in the playoff race, I guess.
Potentially, but you guys did go up in the standings, so you guys are now in 3rd place. You're tied with Gallowglass, 6-7 wins, losses. But there's 2 important things to note here. One is you guys have a pretty solid points for lead. But more importantly than that, you have faced Gallowglass 3 times now, and you are 2-1 against them. So you have that's the first tiebreaker, is the heads up swing, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is.
That's something to look into.
So
we'll play them once more.
You'll play them one more time. If they win that match, then it'll go to the points 4, where you guys still have the advantage. But if you guys win your next match against Gallowglass, and they are the team that, and you do end up tied with them, then you would win based on if you had a 3-1 heads up score.
Cool.
Scorn was really nice in letting us know that we needed to keep Quicksilver's hopes alive, and I really do respect that there's some people that are showing up for that team, so we'll go ahead and give the win to them. And when it comes down to a lot of the efforts and putting everything together for the standings, I think the boys have put up a lot of my crap when I obsessed about, I don't care if you lose, but I want 2 points. Otherwise, you're off the team. So that's the reason that I think we've done so much in effort, and they've really been starting to click across.
And I think to kick them off the team.
Yeah, you're out entirely. So,
man, all I can say is that if KCS gets 3rd place in the playoffs, then nobody can say that you guys didn't deserve it, because you bought out the draft picks. You have basically equipped your team, and then you trade for Slann, which suddenly it works out. And I don't think anybody expected the team to just form so well up until the half of the season. So if Hydra doesn't get into playoffs, then I'm not going to feel too bad if KCS does.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Yeah. This year,
by the way, thanks, Phil. Thanks
You're welcome.
This year, I really thought it was going to be a rebuilding year, because I was the only one, and me and Ty were the only ones left from previous seasons. So we had to draft, a whole new team, basically. And we didn't pick up an armsman or a assassin, so I didn't think we were going to amount to much this year. But when we got Slann, it was definitely a turning point in the season.
Yeah, I think every other team is pissed at me for giving you guys Slann. But that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were waiting for Gerfing to show up. He just never did for us. I think he would have helped us a lot. We would have won a few more early games, I think, with him.
That's definitely possible. I mean, he's a strong player, and that meat shield can be pretty obnoxious to deal with.
Yeah.
On a side note, I am very excited that he is back and playing, especially for you all. And he was a solid player under Christian for a while. And I did take a lot of cues from Christian in taking the team over, despite the fact that he had a lot of difficulties with it towards the end. So I want to give him some love for a lot of it. And my team, in getting the nexus of the team all together, really did help with a lot of the drafting. They really were smart on it. Bringing back to what Alan said, yeah, I did spend 1,000 eggs on draft just to move up and to get players, and moving up to, spending 500 eggs to hopscotch and take Nazarene when I did, and also to move around. That was key.
And that's something I don't think anybody except for the owners is actually, and maybe your players, was actually aware of. Because I don't think that ever got publicized outside of the owners forum. For those of you listening, he did actually this is the first time it's even happened, but Marcaus bought out. He bought out that first draft pick. He bought out another positional draft pick ahead of what he was already going to get. So he got some earlier drafts than he would have otherwise, and that ended up being pretty big. He got that first round Grendel pick, and that has been monstrous for you guys. Monstrous. And what was the second one was Nazarene?
The second one, I believe, was Nazarene.
Was 2.
Yep.
Sean was 3rd.
Sean was 3rd, who has been a stud for us, and then I think everybody else is, maybe even higher than he is on himself. But I really appreciate the effort that everybody's given. And the big things were, moving up in the draft. That was the first trade of draft picks. I think our trade was the first trade of players. And I think the ownership has had a tight hold on it. But I went into it saying that we were going to make something happen this year no matter what. And people have been receptive. And I think that's been huge.
And it's, speaking on Sean, it's, bards are huge. Just a good solid bard in ACFL can really be a kind of a hidden gem on the team. A lot of times, especially as a Scald, they're not necessarily super flashy, but the amount of staying power that they bring to a team is just incredible.